Look around. We are raising a generation of children who are sicker, more inflamed, more anxious, and more overweight than any generation before them. This isn't a coincidence. It's the predictable outcome of a food system that's been quietly hijacked by lobbyists, corporations, and policy decisions that have traded our children's health for profit. And here's the part that should make every parent, teacher, and clinician furious. Our own government helped it to happen. Today, we're going to expose how big food engineered this epidemic, how marketing, politics, and policy created the perfect storm, and most importantly, how we as parents and communities can take our kids' health back. Let's start with the reality. In 1980, only 5% of US kids were obese. Today, that number is over 20% nationally. And in some regions, like here in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio, it is closer to 30%. In certain city schools, half the students are overweight or obese. We're talking about 10-year-olds with prediabetes, teens with fatty liver disease, and kids taking medications that used to be reserved for adults. Now, 1 in 3 American children now lives with a chronic health condition: asthma, ADHD, type 2 diabetes, anxiety, or autoimmune issues. Pediatricians aren't exaggerating when they say our kids are aging faster than ever. Their arteries, their livers, their nervous systems, they're showing signs of stress, inflammation, and degeneration decades too soon. And yet, we keep asking the wrong question. Why are kids so unhealthy? Instead, we should be asking, who profits from it? To understand the crisis, we have to rewind the clock. In the 1970s, after the first wave of data linked sugar and processed foods to rising obesity, the government just considered cracking down. The FTC launched an investigation called KidVid, an effort to ban junk food ads to children who couldn't understand persuasion. But the food and advertising industries panicked. Cereal companies, soda brands, the sugar lobby, they poured millions into lobbying Congress to stop it, and they won. In 1981, Congress stripped the FTC's power to regulate ads to children. President Reagan called it government overreach. What followed was one of the most aggressive marketing eras in history. Fast forward. By the 1990s, 98% of all food ads seen by kids were products for high in sugar, salt, and fat. Cartoon mascots, fast food toys, kids' meals, brightly colored cereal boxes were all engineered to target children's brains to hook them early. We now know that kids who are heavily exposed to junk food advertising consume 45% more of those foods. If you have a kid, you know this, you've seen it firsthand. These companies weren't just selling snacks, they were programming taste buds, reward circuits, and lifetime habits. And they didn't stop with TV. When screen time shifted to smartphones and tablets, big food followed. Advert games, YouTube influencers, and family friendly TikTok recipes, all created or funded by the same corporations that make soda, candy, and processed snacks. By the time a child turns 18, they've seen over 30,000 food ads, most for the same ultra processed products that fill 70% of the average American grocery cart. Marketing alone wouldn't have been enough if our policies had protected us, but they simply didn't. They protected the profits. The USDA and FDA, the very agencies meant to safeguard public health, have been infiltrated by industry influence for decades. Every 5 years, the government publishes new dietary guidelines, and every 5 years, lobbyists water them down. In 2020, scientists recommended cutting added sugars from 10% of daily calories down to 6%. Industry fought back, and the recommendation was dropped. They recommended no added sugars for children under 2. That too was quietly removed. The same thing happened in schools. In 2011, Congress literally declared pizza a vegetable because of the 2 tablespoons of tomato paste on top. Ridiculous. French fries stayed a daily staple, sodium limits were blocked, and why? Because lobbyists for frozen pizza, potato growers, and salt manufacturers spent millions to make sure that the old menus stayed put. This isn't conspiracy, it's congressional records, so look it up for yourselves. Meanwhile, kids, especially in lower income communities, are trapped in food deserts, where the nearest grocery stores might be miles away, but fast food and convenience stores are on every corner. In Cleveland alone, nearly 180,000 residents live in food deserts. Many of them are children. The result: convenience wins and chronic illness ultimately follows. When policymakers bow to lobbyists, when marketing goes unchecked, and when our kids' health is left to the free market, this is exactly what happens. The physical damage is bad enough, but let's talk about the brain. High sugar, high additive diets don't just affect waistlines, they literally rewire their nervous system. When children are constantly flooded with glucose spikes, dopamine surges, and inflammation, it disrupts all of it, the brain's function and signaling. That's why researchers now link ultra processed diets to higher rates of anxiety, depression, and ADHD. Artificial dyes and preservatives like red 40 and yellow 5 have been shown to worsen hyperactivity in sensitive kids. Chronic inflammation doesn't just slow metabolism, it changes behavior, learning, and emotional regulation. Think about this. The same inflammation that drives diabetes and obesity also disrupts neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, the very chemicals that control focus, mood, and calm. So when we see anxious, hyperactive, or unfocused kids, we need to stop blaming the child and start questioning what's fueling them. This is a straight national emergency, one that doesn't make the evening news because it doesn't fit in a 30-second clip. Now, here's the part that gives me hope, and maybe even goosebumps, because this can be reversed. Our bodies, and especially our kids' bodies, are designed to heal when we remove the interference and restore balance. And here's where we start. First, at home. Number one, we need to cut the sugar, not the joy. Replace juice with fruit infused water. Trade fruit snacks for real fruits. Make popcorn instead of chips. Prioritize anti inflammatory meals using colorful vegetables, healthy fats like olive oil and avocado, lean proteins, nuts, and seeds, making those a staple. Next, cook together. Kids who help prepare the foods are far more likely to eat it. Clean up sleep and screens. Poor sleep and constant screen time drive cravings and inflammation. It's just literally influencing their little brains. And next, move daily. The nervous system and the metabolism absolutely thrive on motion. Now, in your communities, what we need to be focusing on is push your local schools for real food programs. Ask what's being served. Volunteer for wellness committees, and if they don't have them, ask to create them and help to drive them forward. Also, support local farmers markets, co-ops, and urban gardens. They are the antidote to food deserts. Encourage churches, schools, and after-school programs to serve healthy snacks, not candy. And guys, this is where we have to step in, right? I mean, if you look at these places, we have to get in there because these are where our kids are getting started on so many of these sweets in their school environments. They use them as rewards. In the churches, they use them as rewards. After school programs, they use them as rewards. You can't feed your kid these things in every setting and expect your child's going to be healthy. It's just physically impossible, and it undercuts what you may be trying to do at home. Now, for policymakers, here's what we need to focus on. Contact your legislators and demand truth in food labeling. This isn't something where we have to go and sit there and be nice. We as consumers, we as voters, we have to demand that our legislators are doing what's right for our kids. We have to demand marketing restrictions for kids, and we have to have updated school nutrition standards that fit in with an anti-inflammatory diet model. Ask why a soda company can sponsor your child's sports teams while marketing the very drinks that cause their chronic disease. This has to be addressed. And next, push for local ordinances that bring grocery access and farm to school programs to your community. And for all us in healthcare, chiropractic, pediatrics, nutrition, PT, we have to unify simply around prevention. The nervous system and the gut are totally connected. What we eat affects how our brains function. A true wellness model means addressing the whole child, their spine, their diet, their sleep, their movement, and their environment. We have to be focused on getting after the root causes of these issues. Listen, this isn't just another health trend. This is the fight for our children's future. Because if we don't stand up to the system that's profiting from their illness, who will? We can't afford to be passive anymore. Every parent, every teacher, every healthcare provider listening to this, your voice matters. So here's what I want you to do next. Number one, join our movement. Subscribe to our free newsletter on Substack. It's elitefamilychiropractic.substack.com. It'll also be in the show notes down below. Each week, I'll break down the science, the solutions, and the hope. You get real tools to fight back against chronic inflammation, brain dysfunction, and the toxic food system harming our kids. Next, contact your legislators. Demand better food standards for schools and truth in advertising. Ask them why industry lobbyists have more say over your child's lunch than you do. And also, if you're seeing this as a podcast, subscribe to the podcast because each week we're exposing the hidden forces shaping our health and more importantly, how to break free from them. Listen, this isn't about fear. It's about hope through awareness. The same light that exposes the problem is the light that heals it. Guys, I'm Dr. Scott Haggerty. This is the Elite Family Chiropractic Podcast. Together, we can reclaim our kids' health, our communities, and our future. God bless each and every one of you. Let's be part of the solution, not the problem. See you in the next one.